Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. This is Frank Rock. I've slept on it. I've thought about it. This is Tennessee versus Georgia the next day. Before we get into that, thank you for your support along the way. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you share out that content, it'd be greatly appreciated. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button as well, as the channel is on the path to 3,000 subs. Appreciate all your support. But Tennessee now 8-2 on the season as they dropped last night's game to Georgia. And, it's a game that, or they dropped. I mean, what can you say? Tennessee started off strong last night, jumped out to the 10-0 lead. And then, they got the touchdown in the second quarter. Georgia was 17 points in the second quarter. And really, once it got tied, Georgia took the lead. Tennessee took it. Tie ball game going into the half. Georgia never looked back in the second half as they shut out Tennessee 14-0 in the second half. Game, of course, ends up 31-17 on the night. And, the biggest takeaways for me last night, this was definitely the defense's worst game of the year. I thought the game plan sucked last night. After just last week, Ole Miss made Carson Beck just live hard that whole game, putting pressure on, getting sacks. And Tennessee, I don't even know if they hardly touched Carson Beck last night. The game plan, the defensive line was not getting pressure. There were no blitzes being brought, and it was giving Carson Beck all night to sit back and throw, and he picked our secondary apart. I mean, just throw after throw, numerous big plays last night on a defense that hadn't given up a lot of big plays, but last night they gave up quite a few in the passing game. And, I still think when you hold a team to 101 yards rushing, that's a pretty good recipe to win a football game. I mean, just statistically looking at Tennessee last night won the rushing battle, 152 to 106. I thought I'd seen 101, 106. The difference is Georgia throws for 180 more yards than Tennessee, 347 to 167. And that's where Tennessee's getting beat. Tennessee has not much of a passing game. And, Nico, he was fine last night. I wouldn't say anything special. I think he made some plays, 20 out of 33, 167, but he was sacked 5 times. Just not going to get it done. But, again, Tennessee still 152 on the ground last night. And I don't know. A lot of ways you could put this one. I mean, I'm going to chalk it up to you were on the road. They didn't play awful last night, but I think there's still one of those that leaves a bad taste in your mouth at the end of the day. I think this was a winnable game, and I don't mean it saying Georgia's not a good football team or anything like that. I think the SEC has a bunch of good football teams. I don't know that they have the elite football teams this year. I think all these teams are flawed, as evidenced by their losses. Georgia beat Texas on the road. That was Texas' only loss of the season. The big thing with Tennessee going in, and they're saying now ESPN has Tennessee's the first team out in the playoffs. I still think Tennessee needs some help down the stretch, and that's somewhere, we need Florida to come through against Ole Miss. We need just numerous things to happen, I think, to get into the playoff. And really the biggest thing it's going to hurt is that Arkansas loss. It's going to come back. Said at the time that Arkansas football team was not a good football team. We had no business going down and losing that football game, but we did. And, let's talk about what's going on with this football team and this offense. It's just been an offense all year long that just for the most part cannot finish. Last night started out strong, got the touchdown on the first drive, which was maybe the best drive of the season for this team, as they went, let's see here. I'm looking at the plays, 12 plays, 78 yards on the first drive, got the touchdown, took 3:47 off of the clock. Really, after that, they punted on their second possession. The third possession, Boo Carter put them at the 37, and they end up having to kick a 52-yard field goal. They just, Josh Heupel's got to look at some things in the offseason. Is there any coaches who need to be on the hot seat after last night? I don't know. I can't really answer. I said last night I didn't think so. I'm chalking it up to Georgia was a better team last night. But at the same time, the wide receivers for 2 years in a row now have underproduced. The offensive line, it's going to be really interesting next year to see. I think we're truly going to know on that offensive line next year. I mean, the running backs continue to do their thing. The quarterbacks, 2 years in a row, not so much. And you know what? The offense has been bland 2 years in a row now. I don't know. I've said it before. I don't know if that's a case of the offense left when Hendon Hooker and Alex Golesh left. I don't know. There's not the creativity. There's definitely not the pace. Josh, I get it's a different team. They can rely on defense. But on those nights where the defense doesn't have it, and last night was really the main night to have it, Arkansas, they had their moments where they weren't too good also. But just a poor defensive effort last night. Definitely worst of the year. Tennessee has got to fix this offense. You're going to win next week against UTEP. You're going to have to bring it against Vanderbilt. I still expect Tennessee to go down to Nashville and win in 2 weeks. And I think the case is still there. If Tennessee goes down to Vanderbilt and wins in 2 weeks, they should be in the playoff. How's it going to come down to? We're going to see when it boils down to it. Everybody's big wins seems to matter except for Tennessee's win over Alabama. Everybody seems to be forgetting that one along the way. But, when it comes down to it, we said coming into the season, we thought this game would be a loss. The Arkansas game is the one that really they couldn't afford to drop, in my opinion. But Tennessee's got to fix those night road woes for whatever happens there. But anyhow, back to the offense. For Josh Heupel's got to fix this thing. He's got to fix it. I don't know if it's your receivers not making plays. I don't know if it's quarterback not making reads. I don't know if it's a line not giving Nico time. I don't know if it's a combination of all of it. I just think it's a poor offense. And if it's Joey Halzle calling the plays, if it's Joey Halzle developing this offense, it needs to be questioned. If Josh Heupel's fingerprints, which I think they are over this offense, they need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do to help this offense get back, not necessarily to 2022 level, but definitely better than it's been the last 2 years. Even 2021 with a brand new football team, the offense was much better. And, maybe that's a case of Hendon Hooker and Alex Golesh, maybe so. But I still think Josh Heupel had a big hand in that, though. I don't think it was all Golesh. And maybe Hooker was just that good, and we don't give him the credit for it. But they're definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board with their offense. And I don't know what that defensive game plan was like. We always get that defensive game plan, I feel like, where it's like, I don't know what that was. And last night was it. Carson Beck was preseason picked to be the number 1 overall pick. Tennessee, my fear was they would make him look like that, and they did last night. Tennessee apart. He had a great game. He was lighting Tennessee up most of the night. They started off slow. Once they got going, once he hit that first big pass, it's like it was on from there with Georgia. It's just like a shooter in basketball, like a Connect, a Lanier, somebody like that. You hit that first one, you're ready to go. It's like Max Gilbert with field goals. He hit those field goals last week. Hit a big 52-yarder last night. Special teams been getting it done 2 weeks in a row. Rest of the team last night had their moments. They had their moments, but, you don't get on a fumble. You don't force turnovers last night when you had the opportunities. There were some calls I didn't really like. Tennessee's way, there was a face mask. It wasn't a face mask. There was a Georgia guy catching one across the middle, taking, 2 steps, and then the ball comes loose and they call it an incomplete pass. That's a fumble. But at the end of the day, did those calls help? No. Did they cost them the game? No, absolutely not. Tennessee's got to go back to the drawing board. They got this week, and you know what? I'm tired of seeing the same guys not get the job done at receiver. Put Mike Matthews in this week. Play him as many as you can. Get him ready for Vandy. Get him ready for whatever your postseason is. The fact that we've not seen him is inexcusable to me. Said it last night, I say it again. The fact that we're not seeing him is inexcusable. And this staff, if you're going to get these big-time freshmen in, you need to let them play. Matthews, by some outlets, was ranked the fourth-rated wide receiver. His stats, he's done barely nothing, while these other top receivers who came in are making differences on teams better than Tennessee. Tennessee's got to be better than this. They've got to be better in terms of play and talent, because a guy doesn't know the scheme or he might miss a block or something like that. When guys are continually dropping passes or not getting open, you got to let somebody else have a chance, and they're not doing that. But I could sit here and go on and on about what they're doing, what they're not doing. They had opportunities last night, and the bottom line is they just didn't finish. They're going to have to look back. They're going to have to figure out at some point how to finish a football game on the road at night. That's what it boils down to. Tennessee's fate was in their own hands. They went out. They're going to get in the playoff. Now you're going to need some help, I really think, to get in. I think they should be a playoff team, but at the same time, you've still got to finish off against Vandy in 2 weeks. It's not a given. Okay, it's a good Vanderbilt team this year. I think we're better. I think we've got to go down there and shut them down. But if we have game plans like last night, anything's on the table with it. We'll go from there. Tennessee basketball plays today at 3 o'clock. I'll be live with you directly after around 5 as Tennessee plays Austin Peay. Sorry I wasn't able to get with you, Lady Vols. I was out yesterday, didn't even get back to almost game time last night, but that was an exciting one as well. But thank you guys for your support along the way. I hope to see you this afternoon. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Last but most certainly not least, go Vols.